Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at what has been requested a couple of times in the group, and that is how to build a multi-row footer that collapses on mobile breakpoint. Okay, so that is what we're going to do today. So the first thing is to set up the menu. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through. It's just a regular menu, nothing really serious, but there are important things I want you to take note of. The first item, which is going to be the title, is still going to be a menu item, which is this. Okay, it's going to be a custom link, and make sure in the URL field you put a slash. Okay, don't put a hash, put a slash. It's really important. And because if you put a hash, we're going to have issues with the mobile breakpoint with the method I'm going to be using right now. Then you have your sub items, so you have that. So I have three menus, okay, three top level menus with sub items. And then in this one, the top level title, we have a class. Okay, we're given a class of footer menu title. It's optional, but it's for proper targeting of the element. We just want to have that. And if you don't have that class options, you can come to the screen option here and check this CSS classes. Okay, so once that is done, it's basically all you need to do at the back end, and then on the front end you go in and create your menu. So we assume that this is let's say it's a template, okay, and then you want to put your footer in the template. So I'm gonna put a section, and then because we want it to be a footer, I'm gonna give it a tag of footer, and then I'm gonna give it the ID of footer. Okay, so now that's because we want to use it for specificity when we're targeting the element. I'm gonna drop a div in there, okay, and gonna make that div 100% width, and then I'm gonna drop in my that div is gonna act like a footer row in case you want to have other rows for your footer. And then we're gonna add a menu, so I'm just gonna we're gonna use the pro menu. Okay, so I'm gonna drop that in. So by default, this is how the pro menu looks. So we're gonna make a couple of changes. The first thing I want to do is to give it a width. Okay, so I'm gonna go to advanced, size and spacing, and give it a width of 100%. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do is to change this icon. So I'm just gonna go to, let's see, the menu drop down. Yep, drop down icon, and I want to use linear icons with the chevron pointing down. Okay, I think I'm gonna change that size to 18. Let's see, oops. Yeah, something like that. Let's make it 16. All right. Okay, and a couple of things to take note. The first is we don't want to toggle this menu ever. Okay, we don't want to toggle to a mobile menu ever. So we choose that, and then this icon, we really don't need it at this breakpoint, but we need to keep it because we need this at the mobile breakpoint. So I don't want to disable it. Because you could actually go there and disable the icon. Okay, so I think drop down. Now the drop down is enabled by default. Okay, so if you turn it off, you're not going to see it. So it's enabled by default. So Oxygen 4.0, sometimes some of these things don't show up, as they should. Now the animation type, I'm gonna just put it at none. Okay, I don't want fade up. And then the animation duration 0.4. okay, so that's a desktop. Then the mobile breakpoint, we're gonna choose toggle, is by default, but I just want to be sure, and then put that. And then entire parent, okay, that should be by default, but it wasn't showing up. And I think that's that is all for now. I'm gonna save that. Let's see, there are other settings, if there are other settings. So it's really important, those settings that I've done, they are really vital, especially that especially this drop down animation duration. Okay, and make sure that the animation type is none. All right, so we're gonna go to the front end and take a look at this. Now I'm just gonna come open up the inspector panel, and I want to write a few CSS. So I'm just gonna go to the style sheet and add a new style sheet. Okay, now we want this, whatever CSS we're going to be writing now is going to be targeted at the desktop only. So I'm just going to write a media query. Okay, so the max, sorry, we're going to use min width. The minimum width, okay, is want it to be 768 pixel. Okay, and all right, so all the CSS will go in here. So now we already have our footer, and to know what you're going to target, you use this arrow and click on what you want to target. So you can see that it clicks on the area, but the parent is a menu. You have all the classes here. Yeah, that's the menu item class. All right, so that's what we want. Okay, let's look for the sub menu under that. So okay, yeah. All right, this is a sub menu, so we want to target that sub menu. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my style editor. Can I move that? Yeah, I want to move that close here. All right, so I'm gonna use the ID of the footer, which is the footer ID. Okay, I'm gonna target the sub menu. All right, and then what I want is, I want the visibility to be visible. Okay, now it's visible, and then the position is by default is absolute, but we want to change that position to static. Okay, and then I just want to give it a small left margin. Okay, to give it a little bit of indentation. So the margin left, I'm gonna make it 0.5 rem. Okay, all right, I think that's now we're gonna go to the parent. Okay, the parent, which is the menu item, which is this, and then we're going to do footer dot menu item. Now we're going to change the display, so I'm just going to change the display to let's just try initial. Yep, initial works. All right, I think that's all. So that changes it from whatever it was displaying to initial, which brings it down here, which, you know, yeah, does what it does. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to hide this icon using CSS. Like I said, I don't want to hide it. I don't want to disable it from the settings, okay? Because you could actually disable it here. But if you disable it there, the mobile menu, this menu is not doesn't have responsive setting. You can't go out in here and start enabling it, okay? It's universal setting. That's a really bad thing. So I'm going to leave it enabled. And then, so what I want to do rather is to use the CSS to hide it, okay? So I'm just going to say Auxiliary Pro menu. Now the class of that stuff is Auxiliary Pro menu drop down icon. So I'm just going to copy that class and put a dot and paste it. I'm just going to say display none. All right, and that goes. Okay, so what next? Let's see how it behaves. It's good. Okay, so I just want to make sure that everything aligns to the top. No matter how many things we add, nothing is pushed down, just to be sure. So I'm going to target the whole of the menu list, okay, which is let's see, yep, this, okay, this. All right, so this, okay, so Auxiliary Pro menu list. So this controls a different 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we want to make sure that the alignment is top aligned. So I'm just gonna drop down, and then I'm gonna go align items. Okay, flex start. Good. All right, just to be sure. And then what the next thing, we want to target this the top. All right. This is the title, so we don't actually want it to be a menu. So what we're going to do is we already gave it a class. We already gave it a class of footer menu title in the menu. Okay, remember, so we're going to go to footer.footer menu title, and then first of all, I want to give it a font weight of 700. I want it to be bold, but that is not it. It's going to apply to all the text, so I want to select the direct link inside that. All right, which is what I want to target, and I'm going to give it a text transform of uppercase, and then I'm going to give it a margin bottom of let's say 0.5 rem, okay, to push those down a little bit. and I don't want it to have any pointer event, so I'm going to set it to none. So now you can't click it. Yeah. All right, let's copy that. I'm going to put that in a code block, but meanwhile, before doing that, I just want to quickly just pro menu typography, or just want to change that ugly blue color. So I'm going to drop a code block here, okay, and then let me move it above and rename it as and then I'm going to put that here. All right, so that is that. Go into the hello world and just hash it out. So I'm going to save that, and we're going to refresh here, and everything looks good. Now the next thing is to go to the mobile. Now if you notice, yep, that is what is happening in the mobile breakpoint. Okay, because what we did not apply to the mobile breakpoint. So what we're going to do now is, let's take a look at something. Okay, now if I say that this should toggle, let's say at that breakpoint, we're not going to reinvent anything. We're going to use what Oxygen already gave us to just do what we want to do. Now take a look at that. You see what is happening? So we already have that toggle effect at the mobile breakpoint, but the only problem is that it comes out only when you click this. Okay, and we want a situation where it comes out, doesn't have to. Now you see what is happening here. This thing is not showing because we clicked on this. Okay, and so something is wrong there. So you see, if I hide it here and we come back, it doesn't show. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that that sub menu displays flex by force. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that code block and add a CSS, and that CSS will be footer Oxy Pro menu container. All right, yep, the sub menu. Okay, I'm just gonna say display flex. Let's just add an important tag to that. We can sort out the specificity later. Let's just be sure. So if I do this and then I collapse one and then I go back out, okay, so they all show. So now I want you to notice something. So if you take a look at this, what is going on here, let's take a look at the pro menu. Okay, now you have the pro menu. Okay, let's go down. All right, so you have this pro menu, which is the element we're working with. So now if I click this, you see a class of Oxy Pro menu is added. Oxy Pro menu open is added. Okay, now let's check what happens to the container. So the container has Oxy Pro menu open container added. Now you see it takes that out, and then if I click again, it adds it. So what we want a situation where when we come here, that class is going to be automatically added at the mobile breakpoint, and we don't want to depend on this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is let's open a new style sheet, and then we want to write CSS that targets the mobile breakpoint. So at media, we're going to use max width. Okay, that max width is going to be 767 pixel. Okay, and then we do that. The first thing we want to do is to hide this on mobile. That's what we want to do. Okay, now this is what brings up this thing, but we want to be able to bring it up with, we don't need this. So I'm gonna hide that. So I'm gonna just say footer. Okay, footer dot, so let's take this arrow and point here. So it's called Oxy Pro menu mobile icon open. So let's just copy that and just gonna paste it here. I'm gonna say display none. Okay, now but let me just remove that display none for a bit and check. We also have to remove the close, but if you don't open, you can't see the close. But to be safe, this is called close icon. So we're just gonna say display none. Now you can see that close is still there, so I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to put a comma. I'm going to change this to close. Okay. All right, so that's gone. All right, so but we still have this open. Of course, if we come back here, you know, we see it is open. Okay. Yep. All right. So let me close this. All right. So let's be working with the mobile breakpoint. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go to the code and paste that there. The next thing we want to do is to find a way, before we can style the remaining thing, we want to find a way to add that class, okay, that open class to the body. Okay, sorry, to the pro menu and the pro menu container. We want at mobile breakpoint, we want that class to be added so we can see what we're doing and style it accordingly. So to do that, we need to use a JavaScript. So we go back to our menu, the JavaScript section, and we're going to write some codes. I'm not going to waste time writing all the codes out. I'm going to just paste this code and then explain to you what it does. Okay. Now what it does is that we're creating a variable pro menus, and then we're selecting our pro menu, okay, as this variable. We're assigning it to the pro menu. So we're using this selector, because the reason I keep using this, you know, footer ID is just in case you have another, you're using this maybe in a particular page, and then you have another element or two, more than one menu, okay, on the page. So you want to specify which of the menus you're referring to. I have this for the menu containers, which I used to target that. And then we're going to check for Windows resize, okay, and then we're also going to, because we're going to use a timeout, we're also going to clear the timeout when the resize is finished, okay. When the window resize is finished, we're going to clear the timeout, and then we're going to set a timeout function. And then we're going to set a media query and say if Windows.inner width is less than 768, okay, because we want this to take effect at the mobile breakpoint. So we're now saying pro menu, we look through each of the pro menu and we add the class auxiliary pro menu open, and we do the same for the container, auxiliary pro menu open container. Otherwise, remove that class from both of them, and then we call this function, okay. And that's basically it. All this code is going to be available for you to download. I'm going to save this and go to the front end, and then I'm going to refresh. Then, so you can see that it shows up, okay? You can see that it shows up. All right, so we're going to style this now. So I'm going to go back to my style editor. I'm going to add that. Now we're still working with we're still working with the media query for our mobile breakpoint. So I'm just going to copy that out again and bring it here, okay? And let's start styling this. Now we want the menu container to be, let's see, we want this, the menu, whatever is containing this menu, we want it to be 100% width. So the menu footer container, all right, menu footer container, all right, we want it to be a width of 100, okay, so that's the width. And then we want this icon to, you know, stretch all the way, okay. That icon, if we check it here, so it is we see it's a div, so we don't want to select the icon, we just want to target that div. And then the selector auxiliary pro menu drop down, so this I can check for, so I can check for something here, and then if I so I can see the selector here, okay. So if I give it a margin left of, right now is 0, if I give it an auto, see it's going to push it all the way here, okay. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'm going to say footer dot menu item has children, okay. Then we're going to select the direct child of that, a, with a div. All right, so we're going to say margin left auto, okay, that's it. And then I want the container to have we have the menu container, okay. So we're gonna go again, footer auxiliary pro menu container, yep. So we want the pro menu container this time around. Okay. We want the pro menu container to be the padding. Okay, 1.6 rem and 1 rem, top and bottom. Okay, and I think that's looking good. Okay, good. No issues. All right. What else? I think the background for this. So that is the sub menu. So I'm just gonna target that sub menu. I'm just gonna say footer, the sub menu. Okay. Background color transparent. So we don't want it to have a background color, so it takes up the background color. Okay, and I think that's all. This icon. Now, when I was working on this, trying to do it, I found out that clicking on this icon gave some errors in Chrome. Okay, I'm not seeing any error here, but in Chrome it was giving error. So because of that, I'm going to target it. Okay, so the class, we already have that class. I'm just going to come here and paste a CSS that says touch actions none, pointer event none. So it's not going to throw those errors. Okay, let me see. I think I don't like the fact that this is too close here. So I'm just going to add something there. So I'm just going to say footer. Now that is the footer menu title that we created. I just want to give it a margin bottom of let's say 1 rem. All right, so that, you know, just pushes the other ones away a bit. Okay, so it's not too close. Okay, so let's copy this, and then we're going to go back to our code and replace the whole of this mobile breakpoint media query. I think that's basically it. Are we done? Probably. So I'm going to refresh this. Just change this to responsive. So now if we come here, so you can see that, but it jumps to the bottom. So I don't want it jumping to the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to do something. So I'm going to just do position initial. So let me just change that position to initial and see, refresh. All right, so it stays up. Okay, that's good. Stays up. Nice. So I think that's about it. So there you have it. You know, so you have a multi-row menu that toggles to you know, so accordion on mobile. That's it. So let's style our menu. So I'm gonna give my footer a background color, you know, something. Let's see, that's what I want to give it to. All right. So, and then you could actually change this border. Okay, where you can change this border is here. You can go to the mobile drop down. Okay, so you see the border top. Now there's no option to change to say you want to remove this, but I guess if you want to remove it, you can actually take it to 0, you know, the color. Yeah, I think so. Let's see if you want to remove that border. We've not been given the, so why do I have this to being white? Okay, I don't think I like it being white. So let's see, what is white? So the background color of our menu. Okay, so where is this? So that is in okay, so Auxi Pro menu container, the background. So I'm just going to take that. So Auxi Pro menu open, Auxi Pro menu container, Auxi Pro menu open container. All right. All right. So let's see. let's refresh. So it only shows up as white in the mobile breakpoint. So I'm gonna go in there and I'm just gonna paste that and just say background color, just make it transparent, and of course I'm gonna use the footer ID to target that. Okay, I'm gonna save this, let's go back, refresh, and then let's see. Alright, so we don't have that color and everything looks good. If you want to go ahead and add, a background color to this, okay, I guess what you can do is to target the menu, the footer menu title, okay, the footer menu title A, okay, so we already have that footer menu title A. Do we? I thought we had some, like, yeah, footer menu title A. So I'm just going to copy all of this. Of course, what we want is just the background, okay, so I'm going to do that and just going to change the background color to white. Alright, save that and then refresh. Alright, so we have that. So if we are going to be having that, then we should be having paddings also. Okay, so generally, of course, you can style it, to match whatever you want. Okay, so I could add the padding left and right. Okay, you could just say padding. The top should be okay, so I'm just gonna maybe just put a little 0.4 rem at the top and then 2 rem. Left and right is C. All right, so yep, so if we want to offset that by indenting this, okay, the menu container, since we gave it 4 rem, we can move this in also by 4 rem in the menu container. So footer auxiliary pro menu container, I guess that's it. Let's be sure. I'm gonna select this sub menu. Okay, the sub menu. So we're gonna give it a sub menu margin, a padding left, okay, to push it in. All right, so we have a sub menu somewhere here. All right, so I'm just gonna say padding left. I don't want to use margin, so I'm going to use padding left. Okay, that is 2 rem. All right, save it. Let's refresh. So we have there, you have it. So everything works well. So you can adjust this value to get what you want. Of course, you can always change the animation speed, okay, by going in here and changing that to, let's say, 0.2. And there's one more place that we have something like that. Let's change to 0.2 animation duration. So refresh. All right, so it's faster now. Okay, so that brings an end to this tutorial. I hope you learned something, and if you do, please hit the like button. If this was helpful, please leave a comment in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button and share this with others. Have a great day till I come your way again. Peace out.